Welcome back to Moments of Reflection. I'm your host, Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and today I want to talk about systemic beliefs and systemic validation of those beliefs. What we deal with when we consider truth, in many instances, truth then is perspectivized by how we were raised, how we were programmed and conditioned, and how we conditioned and programmed ourselves. And so today I want to speak about the context of marriage within these systemic views and systemic truths. First of all, when we consider the truth of marriage, again, there are systemic values and systemic truths in which people all over the world abide by. And according to their tradition and their system which they flow in, then marriage has a specific definition. And so we cannot say that this is not marriage according to their culture or according to their system. We have to operate within the system in which we embrace, and to do so means that that system becomes a part of our worldview and a part of our speculated truth. And I say speculated truth because our perspective is quite limited when it comes to the reality of all truth that is in existence. And so as we deal with perspectivized visions of truth, perspectivized understandings of truth, then we have to also understand that all of these things are systemic. It depends on what system you operate in as to what the viability of your operations are. When we discuss marriage as an institution of God, we have to understand that as an institution that comes from a biblical perspective, the scripture says that He created man, He created woman out of the very rib of Adam, and the two of them became one flesh. He indicates then through the scripture that the system of matrimony, the system of marriage, constitutes those two opposites that when they come together, they can, through the viability of their intimacy, now form and create life. And so the systemic ideology of marriage, according to scripture, in the Judeo-Christian system of marriage, this system then dictates that there is male and female. And the product and the purity of this system, in accordance to those who embrace it, the outcome then can bring forth life. And so systemically, in the Christian marriage, according to biblical standards, the system of marriage and the union of marriage was to produce life. Now, if individuals are not operating in the biblical system, then they have the right to choose, because the scripture tells us, choose you this day. But the problem is when we begin to try to enforce systemic beliefs on people who are not ready, who have not chosen to operate in those systems. Excuse me. And so everything is about the systemic embracement. What system are you embracing? What system then have you adopted? And what system are you choosing to be committed to, truthful to embrace and to live? So it's all about systemic validation to systemic truths. Truth in one system is one thing. Truth in another system is another. I personally believe that there is ultimate truth and that there is a perspective of truth that is validated and is universal. However, again, this is the system of biblical living and biblical standards. Not all will embrace the system of Scripture. Not all will embrace other systems. And so we have to understand that until people are prepared to embrace specific systemic truths, processes, and modalities of living, they will live outside of those systems and live in accordance to the system in which they have adopted. I thank you for joining us this time. I'm your host again, Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and this has been Moments of Reflection.